Happy Sunday coffee talk. Well, water talk for me. It's a little past this coffee time. So let's talk about my favorite subject, and that's being alive. And I don't mean heart beating, that kind of alive, though that's part of it. That's a huge part of it. But the other part of being alive is this: you're looking at me on this flat screen, right? Maybe it's your phone, maybe it's your computer, whatever. Or you're watching the movie on a movie theater flat screen or your TV or whatever. You're reading your book, flat screen. That's one dimensionality. That's great. That's great because it can stimulate a lot in this dimensionality that doesn't even have a dimension level. It's so infinite. That's being alive. See, part of being alive is the ability to, or let's say the inability to be comfortable with one modality, whether it's a religion or a belief or a job or whatever. Now, you're seeing the one dimensional outside of you where they can be all satisfied and have amazing life or a bad life or whatever you're creating. But see, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you. Don't do that. So when you're playing in your brain, let's say you're remembering something from a long time ago, or you're thinking about somebody outside of you, those memories are very similar to the one-dimensional screen. They are affected by you and your aliveness, your ability to say yes, to say no, to imagine things. And they're very much like puppets. And you get to have this puppet show going on outside of you. And anytime you try to take yourself and shrink yourself down to a puppet, it doesn't work well. It doesn't work well at all. I get all anxious and I get frustrated and I have all sorts of feelings I don't like. I don't like that. And so the thing about being alive, even though those puppets seem to be alive, they're not alive like you. The alive you are is infinitely dimensional. You can call it third dimension, fourth dimension, five. You again, that's that taking you and squishing it down to a puppet size, trying to shove you into a box, and it might work. It might work temporarily, but then parts of you start bopping out here and there. Just just can't do it. Damn it. Long time ago, I have played with magic, guys, my whole life. As I look back through my mind, in my mind, and I'm looking back at when I was a little kid, and my sister and I were talking about ESP. This is aging me. ESP. What is ESP? Extra sensory perception. Come on, you guys know this. We would play with that, and then there would be, and then I'd go to school and I'd have a friend, and this friend could read minds. So here's another dimension of wow. My whole life was this. It's just, it never stayed in one. Like for me, it was like, ooh, I'm going to play in ESP. I can't even say it because I can't remember it. And then it would get bigger. And I'm like, wait, I'm still playing with ESP. What's this thing over here? And I just kept playing with it. And organized religion kind of filtered into that. And I tried to get organized religion to be a little more magical, and it just didn't work. So I had to leave that behind. But I played with it for a while. And then, a smattering of others. It just kept expanding. There kept being another avenue over here, animal communication. Then there'd be another avenue over here, channeling. And then there'd be another, the secret. And then manifestation. There's all this stuff. And it just kept taking me and And I'm like, wait, I'm still playing with this last one. What are we doing? Nope, here we go. And only recently I really realized this is part of being alive. This is what being alive is. It's never this stationary, one-dimensional space that I base a lot of who I am off of. I'll read a book and I'll be like, oh, look, the protagonist had the happy outcome and the end. And then I read another book and it's the same way. And I read another book and it's the same way. And I read another book and it's the same way. And pretty soon I'm thinking that's the way my life is supposed to work. Yeah. How's that working out? Ravens. They make the funkiest noises. And then I watch a movie. And the movie has the same thing. Protagonist is going through the mud and the sludge and everything's horrible and bad. And then ta-ta-ta, everything turns out fantastic. And, you know, and I start thinking that's the way my life is supposed to work. You know, the protagonist was this, and then they became, you know, they were the caterpillar, and then they became the butterfly, and shut the door. Oh, it's good. Roll the freaking credits. And I watch another movie like that, and I watch another movie like that, and I watch another movie like that, and then I talk to other people, and it seems like that works for them too. And then I start manifesting human beings around me that are following that exact same narration. Struggle, overcoming, roll the credits. They die, right? And yet I don't die. But this person died. I watched this person die, but I don't die. That squirrel I ran over, it died, but I don't die. And then I have what you could call an NDE. I've had several of them. And each one, I didn't die. And neither have any of the other NDE stories. The person didn't die. You didn't die. That's the bottom line. You didn't die. But did you die? No. You came back, supposedly. Well, you didn't go anywhere, babe. You didn't die. And there's the lesson. You're still alive. This is the lesson. You're still alive. Shall I say it again? Shall I repeat it again till we understand what I mean? The hardest thing, I think, for me was seeing all this death around me, and yet I wasn't dying. Having an experience where I should have died, I should have gone into the white light, and I didn't die. And then having another one, and I didn't die. And having another one, and I didn't die. And going, well, okay, maybe I, Kristen, should die. And then I am what, reincarnated into somebody else, into Joe Blow over there? Nope, that didn't happen either. So what's going on here? And that's when I realized I didn't die. You don't die. Even if you have this experience of leaving this body, are you dead? No. You're here telling me the story of you leaving this body and everything. You're still right here. You didn't die. It's no more different than the experience of getting in your car and driving and getting a flat tire and meeting somebody and they fix the tire for you and on and on and on. Did you die? No. You're still here telling the story. When you take out the subject matter of the story, it's still you telling a story. No matter what the subject matter is, whether it's NDE or anything else, it comes back to the question, who's telling the story? You are. So if you're telling a story of going into a meditation and going so deep that you leave your body and meet source, meet God, meet consciousness, I don't know, fill in the blank. Once again, who's telling the story? Doesn't matter the subject content of the story. Break it down to the absolute simplicity, which is you are right here telling a story. It's still you. You didn't die. You didn't go anywhere. You are still here. Oh, but during this experience, I had AB. You're still telling a story, aren't you? Step away from the subject content of the story and see that this alive version of you is telling a fascinating, fun story. It's still a story. Let's get a little more into being alive. See, the thing about being alive is while I was basing my whole life on a one-dimensional screen, whether it was a book or whatever, or a memory, or an imaginary whatever, this alive version of me was so much more vastly bigger. It didn't have the happy ending. It didn't have, or it might have had a happy ending. Absolutely, it might have had a happy ending, but then you got to get out of bed or you got to go to the next stop. See, I met the love of my life, absolutely toe curling, unbelievable, crazy sex, like is in all those romantic books. The guy was tall, dark, and handsome. He was unbelievable in every way. He was my dream come true. But see, the thing is this: you have the toe curling sex, you have the unbelievable orgasms, but then what? Do you stop? Do we close the book and roll the credits? No. You got to get up and you go to the next day and the next day and the next day. And pretty soon, this puppet that you was so perfect starts showing its flaws. That ends, but you don't. That relationship, that story ends, and you don't. The story that I have a grandma and she is this and she is that, that ends. I don't. The story that I am X years old and am a mother and work at this job and do this and that story ends. I don't. The story that I am a grandmother and my grandson lives over here and yesterday he did this and da 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 and all of that. That story ends. And I don't mean ends as in you ended the book and throw it away. I don't mean like that. But yesterday my grandson had his first soccer. He made his first goal and he got MVP, and there was a whole story there. But that story ends when I put down the phone or I'm not talking to him anymore. But I don't. Now I get up and go outside and work in the yard or fix this or do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have all these stories all around us that end with the shutting of the door or the hanging up of the phone or the walking to go make dinner or whatever, but you don't. Am I making sense? That's being alive. That's alive. See, a lot of times when I'm talking with people in this deep of a level, they want A, B, C, D, okay? Do this, do that, do this, do that, and now all your magic is perfect. Well, does that happen? No. Because after D is E, and after E is F, and after F is G, and you get to Z, and all of a sudden you realize it keeps going. See, all these things around us have a beginning and an end, but you don't. Damn it. I want an end. Sometimes I really want an end. I want to get to the top of the mountain and la da da, I did it. Well, no, now you got to go down the mountain. You don't end. You have this illusion that your day ends, right? Now it's dark. Okay, now I go to bed and I fall asleep. That's the end of that particular day. Is it really? Because you didn't end. You wake up and you keep going. See the birdie? See that guy? That's a black-capped Jenko. She or he has a nest right below me. It's the first time they've ever done that. It's so cute. Look at him up there. Just want to squeeze him. Oh, pinch him. Oh. So did you see what I just did? I went from a very deep subject to a bird and playing with the bird. That's being alive. That's that multi-infinite dimensionality I'm talking about. Being real, being fallible, being bendable, being rigid, being joyful, being sad, that's being alive. And not letting one of it determine who you are. Letting it just be one more fun little trinket that is you. And you can tell some stories, but you go on. And this is who I am. And the hardest thing for me is that there's nothing to grab onto and to create a solidness that I can say, this is me. Because in the very next instant, I'm on to the next story, or I'm over here doing this. And no methodology, such as law of attraction or law of assumption or quantum or any of it, explains me. A little part of me might fit in there, but not all of me. And if you guys are watching this, you're the same, right? You know this. And so you think I am a real, there's all these puppets over here, but Kristen's real. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You are the only infinitely dimensional, continuously going on version in your reality, because this video is going to be over. You're going to be done watching it, and you will keep going, won't you? This story will end, but you won't. That's being alive. It's messy. It's chaotic. It can be organized, but it is alive because that's you. You are this being that is forever exploding in one direction or another. There's no stopping and going, okay, give me a break. I need to go take a nap. Now you're going to wake up. Guess what? You're going to wake up. Or you're not going to be able to sleep. Or you're going to be trying to take a nap and the phone's going to ring, or someone's going to knock on the door. You don't stop. You don't stop. And every time we play in magic and we try to corral the magic and hold it and make it work, it doesn't work that way. Energy is so uncorrallable. Look what happened when we tried to break open a atom and we took the energy out. Were we able to control that? Not well. There was no predicting what was going to happen. We still are playing in that area. And that's what you're trying to do with you. How many atoms do you think make this up? One atom caused quite a scene, and you are an infinite number of atoms. Because this isn't just you. It's also this and that little bird and all of that. And how much of that were you controlling? How much of that were you like, I'm going to make a video this morning and a black Kapchenko is going to come into the middle? How many times have you, if you're a speaker like I am, have you thought, this is what I'm going to talk about, and it goes off in a completely other direction? Welcome to being alive. That's energy. That's what energy does. But it also serves you unbelievably in every way, shape, or form. When you decide that you are going to have a memory, instantly the energy forms to create everything to support that memory, including maybe a picture, including, if I have a memory that my grandson gave me a ring, including having that ring. Where is it? Here we go. Ring. My grandson did not give me that ring. I gave me this ring. It has a whole story behind it. And now instantly I'm manifesting all memories for that. That's the energy. That's the controlling of the energy. And when you're trying to play with magic from a space that's like this, and you are this, it doesn't work so well. It doesn't work so well. And it's not because you are doing anything wrong. My loves, you so cannot. You manifested this. You created this. You brought the energy together to create this crazy video that's 20 minutes long. And you're either getting something amazing out of it or you're not. When the first time I read Seth's Eternal Validity of the Soul, guys, talk about an explosion. I would read a sentence, I would read a paragraph, and I'd have to put the book down for a couple days because my brain just went, and it was a great ride. Those are my favorite, by the way. I call those brain breakers. That's my favorite. That's my drug of choice, man. And then I'd pick the book up. I don't even know if I finished that book. I don't think I did. It was this constant interaction with such a enormous, alive, non-dimensional aspect of myself. There was just no corralling it. There was just no end to what was possible. It was just this birthing of an aspect of myself that I was like, oh, this is fun. I love this. It's who I am. Part of understanding who we are is that we are not understandable. We can create something understandable to give us this sense of, okay, I'm good. But then this, it moves. You don't end. You keep going. There's no stopping your story. And even if you believe you do die, and you believe that, there's this end of this, you will manifest things to support that belief, such as my grandma died, or ran over the squirrel, or this tree over here died, or whatever. But you're going to find you don't die. They do. You don't. You don't end, babe. And there's something so freeing within that. It's still a big ass mystery. It's still, now listen, guys, you are nose to nose with the unknown. Let's make it caps. Let's underline it. Let's make it italicized, bold. Unknown. The unknown. You were up against the unknown at all times. Just like when that bird landed back there. I had no idea that was going to happen. That comes out of the unknown. You're up against that all every moment of every day. Every single aspect of you is part of the unknown, is the unknown. You have no idea what your crazy energy is going to form in this next minute. I think it's going to be a warm, sunny day, and then all of a sudden all these clouds come in and it actually snows. And that's life. That's being alive. That's the massive swirling of energy that is you. And giving up any attempt at corralling and controlling this, that doesn't sound like fun. So that's not me. I won't do that. But I love being alive. I love all the amazing things I experience and I see. I love trying to control the energy and seeing what happens, because all sorts of shit happens when you do that. I love giving it a label: law of attraction, quantum, shifting realities, whatever you want to play with. I love seeing the energy. I love I love it all. There's plenty I don't want to interact with anymore. Sure. Okay. We'll see how that goes too. The purpose of this crazy video is that you guys understand you're not alone. You manifested this for a reason. What was your reason? What do you think is your reason? Put it below. I want to know. I want to know why you created something that didn't give a solid answer, but may have blasted your little brain out a little bit. Let me know, because that's what I love. That's what I love to do. I love getting up on a stage or in a chat and seeing how big we can go and coming away going, damn, that was amazing. And yet I didn't have the satisfying end of the book, shut the end, roll the credits. I never had that, and I never do. And that's a part of me I've had to make massive peace with. How about you? Have a great Sunday.